By now, I think everybody's seen a porno flick in their life, I guess. No, well, you haven't seen them where you live because they're talkies. This is, no. If you haven't seen one, let me tell you something. Don't waste your money. They are the worst films. My friends, they talked me into going to see The Biggie when it came out, Deep Throat. So you got to see it. $5, the worst movie. The worst thing I've ever seen. First of all, they said to me, it's a breakthrough in cinematography. You never saw nothing like. Never saw nothing. I saw that same film the first 2 weeks I was in the Army. It made us all look at it, but it didn't have no music. It had a fat sergeant from Kentucky stood near the screen with a pointer. Town, don't touch that, or those. They took Sarge away. They added a couple violins. Now they call it art. That is not art. No, sir. Art was real tall and thin, wasn't he? Let me tell you, I think the old movies were sexier. I mean, they're not supposed to show you stuff. Gone with the Wind, turn you on like, and they didn't show you that scene at the bottom of the staircase, huh? When Clark Gable stared down into Scarlett O'Hara's eyes. She knew what Clark was after. She had him shut down for about a year. The poor guy's starting to hum. She looked at him. She said, "No, my legs swell." Clark picked her up, carried her up the stairs. The violins give you a little shot of that sensuous terrorist theme. La da da da. All the guys in the theater went crazy. Say, "Get her, Clark! Get the hell out of her!" Up the stairs and through a doorway. Now, they didn't say it was the bedroom. Could have been a closet, the garage. The door closed. The camera focused on the door. Give you a little more violins. La da da da. Man and woman sitting in that theater, squeezing them foam rubber seats, going, ooh, 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 ooh. That's the way it's supposed to. If they remade Gone with the Wind today, they'd spoil it. The camera would phone them in the room. You have to sit there like a dummy for an hour. You know, 128, 129. Sure. Except if it was me and Scarlett, one. Do you remember her? I mean, was that the sexiest? Real Southern girls, they got a sound. It turn you on. It's a rhythm when they talk. They got a rhythm when they talk. Even before they talk it to you, when they're just idling at you, neutral, it feels good. And you agree with everything they say. It don't matter what they say. And you don't notice it at the time when you're talking to them. You find out you're rolling up the bottom of your coat. No reason. They say anything. They say, y'all from the north. And you try to be real sophisticated northern. They'll go, yeah. Say, do y'all like Southern girls? Yeah! Now, Southern men, on the other hand, you can't know, they sound like the words are damaged in shipment. Every day, hey, boy, come down here, Jack Miss said, shoot, no head talking about. You can waste a whole week going, huh? Wait, there's one Southern sound I miss. I haven't heard this in years. I'm sure it still goes on. Used to drive, traveling with a band 25 years ago on the road, turn on the car radio, and you could hear, going through Louisiana, you could hear the religious program. Baptist minister, just a prayer and away. Big old black Baptist minister. Now, you couldn't make out one word the guy was saying, but you could tell he was a prayer, and he had the deepest, holiest sound, and you don't hear that anywhere but down in Louisiana. Give me some of that Baptist music, Usher. Low, he got low, he didn't know the sea. You know, we used to laugh at that guy because we couldn't understand him. But that's not right. No, sir, you don't make fun of the way any man prays. Besides, what happened if you die and go to heaven, look up and say, Lord, only made fun of one man. The Lord looks down and says, Lord got to see it. Let's face it, we don't have no real good pictures, you know. No, it could also go the other way. All of us self-righteous liberal Yankees die. Go up there and find St. Peter sitting in front of the pearly gates with a state police uniform and mirrored sunglasses. He looks up and says, you in a heap of trouble, boy, 10-4. I mean, you know. I swear I love that. They really have them sheriffs. If you've never been down, West Texas, where I first got stopped by one. Sheriff lived behind a billboard. Not parked. Lived there. I was driving through there, and I saw the sheriff chasing me, and I knew I was in trouble. I wasn't speeding. But at the time, I was driving a 68 Cad with Pennsylvania license plate. He's driving a 31 Dodge with no license plate. He had his head out the window going, Then he got right close behind me. He was lighting matches, holding them up over the roof. He walked back to the car, looked down at me, said, "Where are you going, boy?" I was terrified. Give him a little humility. I said, "Gee, Sheriff, didn't mean to inconvenience you. What's the speed limit in your great little town?" I was only going 25 miles an hour. Speed limit in this here town be 24 miles an hour. So, I figure I'm dead. I give him a little intellectual yank approach. I said, "Too bad, Sheriff. In that case, the Yanks got one on you. My speedometer's off exactly 3.6219 miles per hour." I said, "That's too bad, boy. Speed limit sign is off 4 miles an hour." He took me back. We woke up the judge. Judge was mad. Took one look at me, saw that I was white, so he put on the black robe. See, if you're black, they got the white ones with the little holes that saves court caution. Now listen, if you're Indian, please don't take offense to that. I'm very fond of the Indians, and I'll tell you honestly, you know, I don't want to blow my own whistle, but I do a lot of charity work for the Indians, and I believe in their cause, and I mean that. I think they're great. I think they're a little pushy for a bunch of foreigners, but... Well, what else they want? They got everything they need out west here. They got a nice piece of land. Well, they got now 9 acres. They got 9 acres. They got a nice high chain link fence around it so they can't get hit with a Honda. Once a week, you take them some whiskey, they're never satisfied. You know what they want now? They want to fish in our rivers. I tell them, look, you want rivers to fish in? Go screw somebody out of a country the way we had to get our rivers to fish in. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of paperwork involved. See, I admire the Crusaders, help out the... Except sometimes Jane and Marlon get a little carried away. Well, their crusade is a little bit weird. Like if they got trouble in South Dakota, they get on their private jet, fly in from California, and then pick up an air-conditioned Hertz car at the airport and drive out to the Indian reservation with their $600 tie-dyed Levi's, and they walk around for a half hour, go back to California. That's a crusade. Want to impress the people out there, they're going to have to ride there from California on a Pinto with a pound of beef jerky in their bags. They're like that. I admire a real crusade. Dick Gregory, the black comedian, went up to Washington, fished with the Indians in the Puyallup River when their fishing rights were challenged. They arrested him. They incarcerated him. Once he was put in jail. That's right. He got out. He paused. Not as long as I had to right there. But he refished. He was rearrested, reincarcerated, refined. He did that a lot of times, boy. And some people said, that's sure folly. He's not proving a thing. Oh, no. Dick Gregory's crusade brought about some important legislative changes in the state of Washington. Do you know by law, Dick Gregory can fish anywhere he wants to up there? He still can't take an Indian with him, you know, unless it's for bait, but he can go anytime he wants to. No, we love everybody here. We get them all, too, except that one Hindu guy. I didn't like him. I had a guy worked at the door here from Bombay, India. Wore the turban and everything. Supposed to be so educated. He's dumb. We had him parking cars for 2 months. He's standing outside. He had a stick with a nail in the end going, yeah! And he drove us crazy. Christmas, we had a big Christmas party here. And we was doing it right. All the Christians getting real drunk. Christmas spirit. And the Jews were drinking with us too. They sold us the presents and everything, you know. We had a good time, man. This Hindu guy's just laughing at us. He didn't understand. We fixed it. Midnight, we brought his cow in and killed it. We're going to serve the meat right here, but then we found out it was prime. And we already had the cow cut up. We sold it to a farmer in Cleellum, Washington, and he put it back together. I swear, it's still up there. Walks real fun. Ow! Oh! Ow! Oh! Ow! Oh. You know, walks like that. It walks up. Anyway, we get along with everybody, except we got this one Japanese bartender. Drive us crazy. Oh, he got drunk the other night. He come up to me in the alley with a knife. He said, give me all your money or I'll kill myself. Should have seen it, man. Nice buck knife, little leather inlay on the side. Had his initials on it, J. Jack. Jep told me when they get you money for uniforms, they're going to hit us again. Not Pearl Harbor, this time going to hit Cleveland. A day of infamy. Wouldn't that be terrible to hear that broadcast again? We're off this program for a special news bulletin. 10,000 Japanese bombers have been sighted over Cleveland. They've already dropped 160 million tons of napalm on the downtown area. Damage has been set officially at $28.91. Now, if you live there, please don't take offense to that. Cleveland is safe. When the first plane goes over to bombardier, say, oh, must be hit already. No sign of life. Both the girls yours. Pretty young girls, too. Nurses. Legal secretaries. Jump in quick, because we only work with 4 or 5 categories around here. I'm sorry you're not nurses, but let me tell you something. I have a thing about nurses. Now, this is true. Nurses, I think, are very special ladies. If you're a nurse, you'd be proud. Nurses are sensitive. Nurses are compassionate. Nurses are understanding. And nurses are easy. Now, let me tell you. That's one of those little hang-ups you live with. You hear it when you're growing up. First time I heard it, this is true now. I was going to high school back in Scranton, Pennsylvania. This is true. Technical arts school. Now, I know you got them all over the country, but this is different. I'll give you an idea of the curriculum. If you study woodworking and cabinet making for 4 years, for graduation you had to make a board. You get a board. You get the picture now. It was a dumb school. One day I was standing in sheet metal shop, heating up a soldering iron, this is a fact, and a nurse walked by, attractive. I made a typically adolescent comment, you know, standing next to me was another freshman, Polish boy in his late 40s. Satisfied Mex? He turned to me, said to me, nurses are easy. Even though I was young and impressionable, I had the wisdom to challenge that. I turned to him, I said, Stanley, I consider that to be a gross generalization. Why are nurses easy? Never forget Stanley's high school philosophy. Turned to me and he said, because they know where everything is. Now, is that incredible? It actually made sense at the time. Then I grew older and wiser and realized it was stupid. Then I grew older and wiser and realized it was imperative. Now, let's be honest, if you got a live one in the back of the car and halfway through the night you hear her say, what's this? That's the end of the party. Unless you got a lot of tape in the label maker. We're going to give you a little bit of this big number. We hope you enjoy it. Ready, orchestra? Horn up. Horn up. It's one of them phrases used out of context, it takes on a different meaning. Like you say it to the band, they know what you mean. It's one of them phrases you just can't say to another group. I'll give you an example. There are a lot of words in the language, you know, like one night we had a guy in here from the Navy. He was an officer. You know, when he was sitting down front, and because of the lighting, I could not clearly make out the markings on his uniform. I could tell he was an officer, you know, because he had thrown up on his uniform. Enlisted men know a lot more about drinking. I wanted to say hello because I'm patriotic. I say, you an officer in the United States Navy? Was he ever? He said, I am indeed, sir. Big deal. I said, are you stationed aboard a ship? I am indeed, sir. I started to assume his mood. I said, may I inquire as to the name of your ship? He yelled back, USS something or other. I don't remember. And I said, what class of ship is that? There's a bunch of them. Battleship, destroyer, cruiser. The guy looked back at me, yelled, frigate. I was in the Army. I don't know about no ship called frigate. Turns out it's a ship. It's actually a ship. It's not a ship you might use promiscuously in non-naval company. Like if you walk up to a guy in a street corner in Vegas, any street corner, walk up to the guy and yell, battleship. The guy give you a funny look, walk away, that's it. You walk up to the same guy, yell, frigate. That's not the end of the conversation. There's a lot of silly words in our language. You want to hear a silly word? Torque. Torque. Go to an Amco transmission shop anywhere on the continent, beep your horn twice and shout, torque. A little guy in a white smock will slide under your car and hum at your transmission. Walk up to guy's street corner here in Vegas, start off with, hey, torque. He'd liable to turn around and say, frigate. Wait, here's a great word. I think it's my favorite word. Ford Motor Company has a brand name for their parts division, spelled F-O-M-O-C-O, and it's pronounced phonetically. It's like Fomoco. Go to any Ford dealer in the world and say Fomoco. The guys sell you a little blue and white striped box. It's no big deal, you know. You walk up to an Italian guy in a street corner in San Francisco. Start off with, hey, Fomoco. By morning, there's going to be horsehead in your bed. And if he's real mad, he'll have to turn around and say, frigate, torque. Fomoco. You ever been to San Francisco? It's a great city, and a lot of people love it up there. I don't know, I go up to buy the bread. It's a big thing. If you don't buy a loaf of sourdough bread, let me alert you to something. If you go there, they will sell you a loaf. I think the mafia owns a bakery. They kill you, stuff a loaf in your throat. But they got a little hype they work out. Like you go to a big fancy restaurant, they bring you the menu, you order the $14 steak. That's about what it costs. While you're waiting for the steak, cleverly, they bring to your table a salad, good salad, tall glass of Northern California water, 2 loaves of sourdough bread, and a pound of butter. And while you're waiting for the steak, you say to yourself, maybe I'll have a little of this bread. It's so good, you take 1 bite, you're strung out. You got to go through the 2 loaves of bread and the pound of butter. Then you drink the water. Just as the glass of water hits the 2 loaves of bread in your stomach, the waiter shows up with the $14 steak. You look up at the waiter, you go, oh no. He goes to the next table, they go, oh no. They got 1 steak in the whole city, they just show it to everybody. Once a year, they mail it to Omaha and a cow steps on it. Prime. Well, I remember one time I was in San Francisco, I'll never forget this, it was a big thing. It's a weird thing, a lady fell off a cable car. I guess you read about that. Well, it hasn't been in the Vegas papers, it's only 5, 6 years ago. This really happened. A lady fell off the cable car, sustained injuries, which she and her attorney alleged caused her to experience a regression to a time of her life marked with some sort of paternal hang-up. Well, anyway, she said because she fell off the cable car, she was forced to have affairs with 100 men in a 30-day period. Just true story. She sued the city of San Francisco for $1 million. I read about that. So who does she think she is? $1 million for 100 tricks. You know, they don't get that here in Vegas when the Shriners are here. People read about that all over the world, said the lady's sick, the lady's weird. The lady's brilliant. She fell off the cable car, she got hurt. She's gonna be laid up in bed for a month anyway. That beats watching Dolling for Dollars in the afternoon, doesn't it? You're not drinking Thunderbird tonight, you got her on the good stuff. I'll tell you something, when you've been in the saloon business a long time, you look around, you could tell what the guy is feeding the girl, just about how serious he is for the night. Now this is a fact, since the beginning of time, which goes back millions of years. Well, not in Vegas, maybe 15, 20 years tops. Since the beginning of time, the male of the species has cleverly used the alcoholic beverage as a sort of a device to loose the inhibitions of our female partners. We've all done it, there's no shame involved. We've all turned to our own wives on a special night, anniversary perhaps, and said, darling, would you like a little drink? When in reality, what we've really meant was, darling, would you like a little drink? Yeah. And they play along, oh yeah, oh, I shouldn't have another, honey. Zipper, zipper. Yeah. Let me tell you something. The drinks used by us on them fall into 3 categories. That's all you got to remember. Category 1, the hard drink, straight scotch, bourbon, gin, vodka, those. You got to run those. The lady will experience 2 states of awareness. Number 1, awake, followed instantly by number 2, asleep. In between, you got about 4 milliseconds to make a move. In fact, it's got to be a mid-air shotter. She's gone for the night. Category 2, mixed drinks, brandy Alexanders, Manhattans, martinis, stingers. You got her on those. You got 31 minutes and 19 seconds to make a move. That's not much time. How you know when she's getting ready? Watch her eyes. See some very subtle biochemical changes in her body reflected through her eyes. Her pituitary gland will... No, that's too clinical. Okay, the spine... Okay, I got it. You know them dolls you put in the back window of your car? Football players and dogs and things? The doll is stationary, but the head is on a spring. She started to look like one of them. 31 minutes and 19 seconds later, bronk, she no good. Her spring is broke. There is, however, category number 3, the aforementioned Thunderbird wine. 1 glass of that, you got 90 days to make a move. You can go out to the dam, kick a trout, come back, give her a cookie, and she's ready again. Fortunately, for the propagation of the species, the male requires only air. See, you girls don't know air is what turns us on. Air. Sure, you ever notice when you come out of the bedroom wearing something slinky, your old man goes, and when it's over, he goes, if you can get him to hold his breath for 8 hours, he'd die. But you have a lot of fun while you're waiting for him to pick up the body, I'll tell you that. I always caution men against one, at least the public consumption of one drink. It's called a margarita. And if you drink them, you know what happens. It attacks your motor reflex system, causing you to smile compulsively for 12 hours. You cannot help it. And a dumb smile. Now, if that happens to a girl, there's no big deal. People just wave back, say, she's having fun. Happens to a guy, you got problems. I'll tell you why. You're out drinking. Drinking obviously constitutes a liquid intake. So eventually, the reciprocal demand is placed upon your body. You say to whomever you're with, excuse me. You go to a restroom. Now, girls don't know this, guys. Ladies' rooms and men's rooms, they ain't nothing alike. I mean, girls, you got it neat. You got a bench with a cushion and a mirror and tissues and hand lotion and privacy. Man, the same thing here as it is in an army camp. You line up. Well, as you guys know all too well, there is very little option afforded the performer as to where to look during performance. One can look at oneself, but who wants to see that again? You know, you can stare at the tile, but it's close. It's hard to focus on. So the normal procedure is to simply glance at the gentleman standing next to you. Now, if the guy next to you was a 409-pound lumberjack from Oregon, and you've been drinking margaritas and look at him with that smile, that's what you call danger. See, there's a chance you won't come out of it. You could end up as a punctuation mark in a poem.